Hi, I'm Paul Nash. I'm going to be trimming the pot I threw a few days ago. It was in the damp room. It probably was drying there for about 4 or 5 days, moving into leather hard. Once it got leather hard, I wrapped it up in plastic until I'm ready to trim it. So now I'm going to flip it upside down, and to do that you use a chuck. These chucks that I have here are chucks I made back in 1974, so once you're taking care of your things, they'll last a long time. Sometimes it's good to put a little bit of clay between the chuck and the clay so you don't scar your pot. So that's what I'm going to do here. And then you got to level it out. And then trimming a bottle is a little bit more difficult because you can't put your hand inside to feel, the wall structure. So I kind of get a feel for the weight, how much I want to take off, and then looking at the shape. And the object is to finish off the bottom. And then these levels here work real nicely. I call these disc levels, but they're also called bullseye levels. And I discovered these about 2 decades ago, and they work pretty nicely for leveling out your pots. It's an easy way to level out. But the round ones work better than the straight ones I found. Okay, so now I got to center the whole piece, get it in center. Whoops. Check level. Okay, and then you tag down on the chuck. Hopefully nothing's going to move while you're trimming. If it does, then you got to start the whole thing over, leveling and put it back in the center. And again, you have to have a memory to the shape that you made. And I'm just going to work this part here basically in relation to what I threw as far as the form. This is the R2 trimming tool I'm using. When you trim pots, you always want to work the outside first, get the outside shape the way you want it. This probably could be a little bit more leather hard, then the ribbons would fly off a little bit nicer. This is a little on the soft side. But I keep my left hand on top, fingers on top, so I can feel center. If it gets off center, I'll feel it and be able to stop the wheel or catch the pot in time. And then there's all kinds of trimming tools. The basic ones that you'll get in your toolkit is that R2, and then they also have like a H8 or an H2, which is a bigger kind of tool, same kind of shape, and then the loop tool, and there's different kinds of loop tools, and I like this one a lot. It comes from Japan. And I use the flat end of the R2 trimming tool to shape the foot, and this is where you have to start thinking about what kind of feet you want to make to your pot and how the foot looks in relation to the rest of the form. Lately I've been doing these kind of larger feet on the porcelain forms. It's also trying to find that balance, and a lot of times getting everything to fit together requires how you apply the glazes and how you work them. You always want to try to work the trimming tool just below 3 o'clock. You maintain a better control as if you're throwing right-handed. And there's all different kinds of feet, so that's what I tell students. When you get to this point where you're getting comfortable with trimming and you know, starting to establish what kind of base you want to your forms, that's what's important, just to start looking at some of the historical pots and contemporary pots of the past, even today, as far as potters do. Gives you an idea of how you can experiment. And what I'm doing is thinking about the width of the foot in relation to the lip. And the foot gives a lift to the form. And I like to go over my trimming with the throwing sponge, soften up the lines. Gives a nice softer look. Okay, I'm almost done. Just going to change the angle here a little bit. Some people like to work with ribs too in trimming. That's fine. It's just whatever you're comfortable with. Basic rules: trimming the outside first, and then going to the inside. Production potters and a lot of the old pottery don't even have feet. You know, they just kind of finish the pot on the wheel, and that would be it. That looks good. Now it has to go bone dry, but I'll put it back in the damp room without it being covered for a few days, or I'll just drape plastic over it without spraying it. So we'll continue to dry, but dry slowly. If it dries too quick, you're going to get into warping or cracking problems. Now I use the back end of my needle tool to write my name. Some artists don't even put their name on their pots. It does make it a little cheaper, because then it's kind of just a production pot, not a pot meant for visual pleasure. Okay. Back on the bat. We still left a little mark, so clean that up. Whoops. Sorry about that. Leather hard is a nice stage, so you know, if you make any mistakes, it's easy to usually repair. I'll get those crumbs off first, and I'll go over with a sponge. It'll be done. So after these bottles, I'm going to throw a little bit more looser forms in porcelain. Spare